talk about the definition of the cloud, it's my take on it. I'm going to give a bit of background on who I am and what BECA is and what our business is, because I think that's very relevant to what I'm talking about here. I want to talk about what our problem was that we're trying to solve through the cloud and what the solution that we found was. No one agrees exactly what the cloud is. There's so many definitions. Buzzword or not though, cloud's certainly claiming the attention of the grown-ups in the IT industry. CIOs, CTOs, CEOs are all including it in their thinking now. And actually I see a number of senior industry luminaries in this room, obviously, with due attention on the subject. All right, who am I? I'm actually operations manager these days of BECA Applied Technologies. And BECA Applied Technologies is a wholly owned subsidiary of BECA Group, which deals with software development, management consulting services, and we work for both BECA internally and for its client base and for independent or external clients. I look after a team of 60 consultants, and our work is very, very varied. We range from bespoke software, small size, one-off, through to enterprise strength, implementation of Windows SharePoint services. We were using SharePoint before it was trendy, and that's a fair old long time ago now. We also do a bunch of IT strategic consulting across a range of opportunities. We build radar simulators for the Air Force, and we're doing Lean Six Sigma work out at the airport to help with the arrivals process, a whole range of stuff. We also offer significant asset management consulting and specialist strategic services like Lean Six Sigma and visualization. I'll show you a slide of a visualization shortly, just so that you understand where that is. The reason why I point this up is because our business is very varied, and I'll pop back to that shortly. My personal background is that I've got a background in both marketing and IT. My belief, and the thing that was mentioned in the intro, is that the business problems in the IT space are compounded by IT people often by a predetermined or precipitant leap to the technology of choice rather than development of a business requirement. Now, the yellow car leap. This is a very poor example, but it is. I want a yellow car. We've got to have a yellow car. Come on, let's go and look at the yellow cars. Why do you want a yellow car? I want a yellow car, okay? Yellow cars are cool. Yellow cars are what's here now. Yellow cars are the coming thing. I want a yellow car. But hang on. We're taking pumpkins to market. Does it happen in your business? Does it happen to your IT department? Sorry to take the mickey, but I think it does. Okay, onward. BECA. BECA is a big engineering consultancy firm in New Zealand. This is the Auckland University new business building. BECA was the designer for this. BECA is around about 3,000 strong, Asia-Pac centric, based in New Zealand, and one of the large gorillas in the engineering consulting market in New Zealand, also with growing presences in Australia and Asia-Pac, and growing much faster in those areas, but from a tiny, tiny base. Internationally, BECA is very small, quite big in New Zealand. Hallmarks are that it's very, very diverse. We've got something like 70 different businesses or business lines: cost management, project management, architecture, land information valuation, all sorts of things. And we work in a whole variety of segments: water, defence, healthcare, transportation, power. And finally, BECA was the Deloitte Company of the Year in 2010 in the Deloitte New Zealand Management Magazine Top 200 Awards. So I'm pretty proud to work for it, I have to say. Let's talk about why we're into the cloud. Our problem is around infrastructure projects and alliances in the IT and such. How many of you here are involved in projects? I thought it would be lots. IT projects, presumably, mostly. Yeah. How many people are involved in building projects? Few, not many. Yeah, skinny's out. And what about infrastructure? I don't mean IT infrastructure. I mean land infrastructure. One or two. Okay. This is the area that I'm going to focus on in terms of the cause of our problems, or the issue that we needed to solve. there's been a major trend in infrastructure projects, I'm talking road and water and that sort of thing, over the past few years to appoint alliances to deliver them. It hasn't been one corporate entity that's delivered them, it's been a bunch pulled together into an alliance. Think roading, and I've got some lovely acronyms here, but CMJ, Central Motorway Junction, you know, the Market Viaduct, Manukau Harbour Crossing, the second Manukau Harbour Crossing, and Victoria Park Tunnel are all roading, big roading projects that have been delivered by an alliance of providers. Water, the Vanua number 4 and the Central Interceptor. For BECA's purposes, one of the key ones we've had is in Australia, the Victoria Desalination Plant. Now that was delivered by an alliance of BECA and PB and TIS and a bunch of others, and is a $4.7 billion job. So not an insignificant chunk of cash to chuck around, but put out to an alliance. Now where am I going with this? The thing is that alliances are co-opetition, and as one of my colleagues put, in these alliances you don't get married, it's more like speed dating. In other words, the next alliance is not necessarily anything like the previous one. It's different players, it's different roles, it's different proportions of interest, and so you never actually get settled necessarily to systems. And this is where my problem's all going. Project alliances typically don't want to own their own assets, and they don't want to buy assets, they don't want to store assets, because they are a limited life entity. Ultimately, they don't want to operate with CapEx, except obviously the CapEx the capital that they're using to generate the asset. They don't want to operate with CapEx for their systems, they only want to operate with OpEx. And James made some really good points about CapEx versus OpEx earlier, thank you very much. Carrying on with the problem here. Now, getting on to the hobby horse here a bit, I have to say, because I've been stuck with it. Projects, these alliance projects we're talking about, typically start with cobbling together old exchange servers that were lying around the office, sticking a server under the desk in the project office. Does this sound familiar? No? That's right, that's where they're supposed to go. Yeah, no. As I say, sticking the exchange server under the office, creating a file share from a spare desktop that was parked somewhere. Eh? Yay, that P drive, guys, beauty. Project participants, and certainly in the sort of thing that we're talking about, and I would think in your projects too, IT or other, can be located from anywhere across New Zealand, potentially internationally, or even, in our case, certainly around Asia Pacific, and they need to be able to communicate, so it presents the problem of communications and the issues of location, of collaboration, all of those sorts of things. Communications and deliverables are often delivered by the spam email system. To my mind, and what we are trying to convince the world of, is that project controls should be developed for the project before the project starts. And proof that those IT systems are available to this project, and remember we're talking about millions and billion dollar projects here, but my suggestion is that proof of that IT should be part of the bid, and so that the client should be able to say, well, what's your IT? What's your platform? What's your project control strategy? Software as a service provides a uniform platform that the old system couldn't. Potentially it enables all the various companies to work together on the same platform on any platform they choose, as everything's through the web login. BECA's software as a service tool attempts to provide a big alliance project with a whole range of project controls. Now, none of the, or a lot of this should be completely familiar to